recording. I'm kind of confused here, Dr. Elmer. I'm on speaker view and I'm pinned, but for some reason, Nancy's camera is showing up on the Facebook Live right now. Okay, maybe not. It seems to be working now. We'll try it.
I'm not seeing anything on the stream yet.
Yeah, I haven't went live, but I was looking at the preview and it looks like it's okay now though. Okay.
Looks good to me.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get started then. Well, thank you for joining me for Up and Moving today. If you haven't followed along with one of my workouts before, my name is Isaac. I'm a grad student in the kinesiology department at Michigan Tech. And tonight the plan is we're going to start off with about 5-10 minute warm up somewhere in there. And then we're going to move into some strengthening and balance exercises, a little bit of mobility work, and then finish off with a little cool down stretch. And then you'll be on your way. So with that said, just a few things that you might want to gather if you are watching the recorded video and have not already gathered these things. A few items that I'm going to use. I've got a chair, a good sturdy chair that will support your weight. A few improvised weights. So I am using pails of paint for tonight for my dumbbells. So we're going to be using these as weights. You can use grocery bags and stick cans of soup or bottles of water in those. You can use gallons of water or milk, anything that you can use as an improvised weight. Lastly, I've got a towel or a yoga mat will work, something you can lay down. And then I have a little scooter. It's got some wheels on it. If you've got one of these, fantastic, grab that. Not too many people have those laying around, but a ball will also work. And then we can also use that towel too when we get to that exercise. That is everything you should need. Other than that, just your body. Majority of things we're going to do tonight are probably body weight exercises. So let's go ahead and hop into a warm up here. We'll get our heart rate up, body temp up a little bit. Get ready for the exercises that are to come. So let's go ahead and start off with some high knees. So right now we're just going to drive that knee up to the chest. You can get a little arm swing in there. So we're going to move through a few different dynamic movements that are moving several different joints. And we'll do them for about 20 or 30 seconds. We'll just make sure all the muscles are getting warmed up. We're moving the joints a little bit. Greasing the joints up, if you will. Getting them ready to move. Good, all right, let's go ahead and switch it up. We're gonna go into a Frankenstein kick now. So hands out in front like your Frankenstein. You're gonna be kicking your foot up to your fingertips, trying to keep that leg as straight as you can, that knee straight. If you can't get your foot all the way to your fingertips, that's okay. We're just kind of looking to feel a little bit of a stretch in the hamstrings and the back of the leg and get those warmed up. Perfect, looking good. Let's go ahead and switch the movement up again. We'll go into heel kicks. So you're going to keep your knee right below you and try to drive that heel up to your butt as high as you can, and then back down. And we're just alternating legs. If you like to get a little arm swing in there with it, you can too. Get those arms moving a little bit. Good. Breathing rate should be just picking up a little bit here, but not terrible. Perfect, good. Let's go into just some pretty light body weight squats. So you can go as deep as you want. I can get nice and low, but you can just do a quarter squat if you want to. Use those hands out in front to give you a little bit of a counterweight for you. And again, whenever you're squatting, you can adjust the width of your stance. You can turn your toes in or out, whatever feels most comfortable for you. And we'll go about 5 more of these. 4, 3, 2, and then last one. Good, perfect. Let's give those legs a little bit of a break. We're going to go into some arm swings and step side to side. So still moving a little bit. Now we'll go on, get those shoulders warmed up. Now get a little bit bigger with those circles. Good job, and then really big. Great, let's just reverse. We'll go the opposite direction. We'll just keep stepping side to side here. Get those circles a little bit bigger now. Think about pushing that chest out as you're bringing those arms back. Pinch those shoulder blades together as you're pulling the arms back. Really get that back nice and warmed up. And really big circles for a few. Good, perfect. I'm going to go into another little leg warm up. So spread the legs just outside shoulder width here. And then what we're going to do is just lean side to side. So here we're just kind of getting a light stretch on that groin. And then leaning a little bit into that knee. So we're working that quad a little bit more. And we're just going from side to side here. It doesn't have to be super deep. You need to keep them shallow. Go ahead. You don't have to move a ton. We're really just trying to kind of get that groin warmed up. Just going from side to side. And I'm leaning forward a little bit too. If you want a side view of what I'm doing. Good, nice job. Perfect, all right. All right, we're gonna go into standing as a T. You're gonna bring your hand to the other side and clap. And we're rotating a little bit. So I want you to actually turn and face your shoulders towards that wall. When you turn to that hand, you get a little bit of rotation in. We're clapping, opening up, turning to the other side. Open up, turn to the other side. Good, nice work. Perfect. Now we're going to go to a little side hop. So you're going to be hopping onto one leg and then jumping over the other. You get a little bit of an arm swing in. So it's like you're a speed skater here. Looking at me from the side, I'm just jumping side to side. Little hops. We get those glutes a little bit warmed up here. Those hips should be feeling ready to go by the time we get done with this workout here. got a little arm swing in. Good, nice job. Okay, we've got 2 more movements we're gonna go into before we take a quick break. And I'll give you a chance to get some water there. We're gonna go into a jumping jack variation. So you can either just kick that one leg out and bring those hands together, or a regular jumping jack works too, but if you don't like the impact of that, this variation works fine. Good. I'm going to try to increase our pace here a little bit. If you can, stick with me. We're going to push it for a couple of minutes here. Get you breathing a little bit before we take our break. And I'm going to go into a full jumping jack now. I'm going to get my pace going. Try to hang with me if you can. If you can't, that's okay. We just want to get to a place now where it's getting a little bit harder to maybe hold a conversation with somebody because you're breathing a little bit too hard. That's where we want to get to by the end. So let's keep going here. We're going to go for 10 more seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Now let's run in place. So pretend like you're running or jogging in place here. It's a sprint. It's the last 100 meters. We're almost at the finish line. Good. We're going to go 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. All right, warm-up's done. So I'm breathing a little heavier. Go ahead, take a break. Get yourself a drink. I'll give us frequent water drinks here between exercises. So have a water bottle with you. Of course, per usual, I think I forgot to bring mine with me. I know I filled one. It's probably right inside the kitchen there. May have to grab it at some point, but good job. We made it through the warm-up. So everything should be feeling ready to go now. Shoulders are loose, hips are loose, everything's feeling good. Our first exercise, we're going to focus on the legs for this one. And I'm just going to kind of move things a little bit out of the way here so I can get a good camera angle. So you're going to need a chair. You may not need a chair, but I would recommend starting with it for some balance. And so what we're going to start with here is we're going to do like 2 different movements combined to do an exercise. So the first movement is you're going to be reaching a leg out in front of you. And then what you're going to do after you reach, you're going to try to bring it back and reach down and try to touch the floor. Then back to center, try to touch the floor. Reach out in front, center. So we're going to stay on the leg that we're working. So in this case, it's my left leg. And we're just going to be reaching a leg out in front and then reaching a leg out back. You don't have to touch the floor when you do that reach, but sometimes it helps to have something to focus on the floor and go down to touch. So we're going to be really working the quads during this phase of the movement as I'm pushing that leg out in front. So I'm basically trying to reach that heel out in front of me. You can see how this back leg's bending, and it's going to make my quads have to work. And then as we do this phase, a little bit of bend in the knee. It doesn't have to be super straight, just a little bit of bend. And then here we're really working the glutes and the hamstrings, so more the back side of that leg. So what we're going to try for is about 10 to 20 on each side. Now when I say 10 to 20, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So we're going to count every time we reach either forward or back. We're going to stay on one leg and then we're going to flip and hit the other side. Now, if you feel comfortable doing this without the chair, you don't need it. You can do it without that chair. But this is a lot of balance. So ideally what you want to do is just stay on the leg that you're working the whole time and not touch the other foot down. That's ideal. If you got a chair, you have a little bit of balance, it's okay to maybe touch that foot in the center before you switch. That's what the exercise is going to look like. So it's going to work that quad, hips, your glutes, and your hamstrings. So let's go into our first set. We're just going to switch back and forth between legs here and go for about 3 sets. So let's start off. I'm going to start on my left leg. Again, I'm going to go for 10 to 20. So I want you to get to where you feel like these muscles are starting to get fatigued. So you can, kind of shut down your set whenever you feel like you've reached that point. So here we go. I'm getting into it. I'm reaching that heel out in front and then transitioning down, back up, reaching the heel, transitioning down in front. That's 4, 5, 6. So reach that heel out in front of you as far as you can, then reach the toes back. What we really want to do here is try to keep your chest and your hips square. So we don't want to be turning and opening up our chest or our hips too much. Good, and I got one more in the tank here. Perfect. Whew. Feel that one. I feel it in my quads and I feel it kind of in the side of my butt. I'm going to go ahead and switch sides now. After we do this side, I'll give you a quick break. So I'm going to be working my right leg now. It helps. You can put the chair on either side of you for support. You can put it on, your left arm if you're doing your right leg, or you can do right arm with your right leg. I prefer to do it this way. You may find that supporting the other side is more comfortable doing it this way. So I'll do it this way for you guys to see this time. So supporting with my left arm, and now I'm working my right leg. So I'm reaching my left heel out in front, and then bending down. Left heel out in front of me, bending down. Left heel out in front, bending down. You can see that my chest and my hips, they stay square. I don't open up like this. So pretend like you've got a level on your hips. You're trying to keep them nice and level as you transition. There's no need to go fast. Everything just nice and slow and under control. And again, use that chair as much as you need to for balance. You can also reach that heel out further in front of you if you want a little bit more challenge on that part of the exercise. So I can really reach my heel and get a really deep squat. I think I'm going to do about 2 more. And this one you should really feel in those hips and your glutes and your quads. Woo! All right, go ahead and take a little bit of a break. We are going to transition back to the other leg. I will try to give you guys different angles here if you're kind of struggling with this one. All right, so once we got a drink of water and we're feeling fresh, let's get back on that left leg. And again, you guys can make these as hard or as easy as you want them to be. I want you to challenge yourself. You can always use that chair and you can always cut out range of motion. So if you need to kind of just do a really slight kicking of that heel out in front, that's fine. You don't have to go super far. And then if you don't want to just dip a little bit, just dip forward a little bit. You don't have to get all the way down. So the more range of motion, the more challenging it'll be. So play around with those things. So I am back to my left leg. So I'm going to be reaching, gotta flip sides. I'm going to be reaching my right leg out and kicking my left leg back. Reaching my right leg out in front, kicking the left leg back. And see my hips and my chest are staying square to you on the screen as I go through this. I've got my chair here for some balance. And I'm going to see if I can make 10 to 20. These are tough though. And the balance component is a whole nother thing. Sometimes it helps if you can find a spot on the floor out in front of you and just focus your eyes on that spot. Sometimes it can help you with that balance component. Perfect, good. I think I got about one more in me here. Perfect, all right. Take a little break, shake that leg off. I will give you once again a little bit of a different view again. How I'm doing these. So let's go ahead and we'll hit that other leg. So I just did my left leg. I'm now going to work my right leg. So I'm going to be kicking my left foot out in front and then kicking the left foot back. Left leg out in front, kicking it back, out in front, kicking it back. Again, no need to rush. Take your time. Good. Try to keep those hips square. Chest and hips squared up. We've got levels on everything. We're trying to keep everything nice and stable. Good. I think I got about one more in me here. Start to burn. Woo! All right, we hit through 2 sets. So go ahead and take a drink. Quick break. Shake those legs off if you need to. I know for me, I'm feeling it now with my quads. So again, during that portion where you're kicking that heel out in front, that really works that quad. And then when you're bending down, that really works your glutes and your hamstrings. So you're maybe feeling it here in your butt, in the back of your leg, the front of your thigh. This is a good one. This provides a good full leg burn. Really good for runners, skiers, any type of sport where you're on your feet, because you're doing a lot of shifting of your weight around with those kinds of sports. You have to have good endurance and strength throughout the hips and the quads. All right, so I'm going to go back now to my left leg. This is our final set. So I challenge you here. Tell you what I'm going to do to make this last one a little harder, I'm going to bail on my chair. So you guys can laugh at me when I lose my balance, but I'm going to try it. And if you feel like you can handle it without the chair, go for it, give it a shot. If not, completely fine to keep the chair, still work those muscles. Here we go, I'm going to be working my left leg. I'm going to kick my right foot forward, then right foot back. Try to stay balanced on that left leg through this whole set. Try to push this one. See how many good reps you can get. So again, we don't want to sacrifice quality for quantity here. We still want the quality of these reps to look good. Pretend like I am watching you and I am critiquing your form right now, and you really want to impress me. So you want to make them look really good. Keep it slow, under control. I think I've got about 2 or 3 more. Let's see, the legs are definitely getting tired. It's getting harder to keep my balance here. And if you feel like you need on the last couple of reps to use that chair again, if you're trying it without, feel free to grab onto it. Woo! All right. I've got one more set. I'm going to switch on to my right leg now. Hit this last side. And I'm going to try this again without a chair. This is my bad side. I have a bad side balancing. So if you got a bad side like me, you're not very good at balancing on one leg, you may need the chair for that bad leg, but I'm going to give it a shot here. So I'm working my right leg. I'm going to kick my left heel out in front and then kicking it back. Out, kicking it back. And I like trying to touch the floor. Gives me kind of a goal. Gives me something to reach for as I'm kicking that foot back. I like to reach down, try to touch the floor. Kick that heel out in front of me as far as I can. It's getting a little bit more challenging here. Again, don't worry if you need that chair. Go for it. It's the quality over the quantity. That's what we want. We want them to look good. Nice. I think I got one more maybe. I'm feeling this one. All right. Gonna have to walk that one off. So go ahead, grab a drink of water. Take a breather here. So we got one tough exercise out of the way. All right. So our next one, we're going to, a few different ways to do this one. I'll show you two variations. You can either use a chair and grab your improvised weights. It could be real dumbbells if you've got real dumbbells, or again, shopping bags, and you can stick bottles of water in them or cans of soup. Anything to add a little bit of weight to these. Now what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be lifting those weights up so that I'm making a W with my arms. So what I want is my torso to be bent over, and then I'm lifting those weights up and making a W. So you can see I got this W with my arms here. So my elbows are just below my shoulders, and then I'm bringing my hands up to about ear height. That's about where we want it. So two ways to do this. You can either sit on your chair, and I like to put my legs out in front of me and then bend over so I get this slight angle, and then I'm coming into that W. So again, I want my hands at about ear height, if I can get them up to my ears. Can't get them quite that far, that's okay. And a slight hold, and then making that W with my arms. So it's almost like you're pulling and rotating the arms like this. So that's the movement we're looking for. All right, and then the next movement we're gonna do, we're gonna use the same weights again, but we're gonna stand up and we're just gonna raise them out in front. So just a front raise. And for this one, I'm just trying to get my hands up to about eye height if I can. Up to about eye height. Just like that. So those are the exercises. I'm just going to give you a general rep goal of about 10 to 20. And again, we're going to do the same thing. I want you to just do as many reps as you can until you feel like that muscle's starting to get fatigued. Or when you feel like your form is starting to not look very good, you're starting to rock and do a lot of crazy things, these should be nice and slow and under control. So 10 to 20, wherever you fall in there, perfect. As long as it's just a little bit challenging. Another thing you can do is if you feel like the weight is too heavy, take a can of soup out of your bag, or maybe use soup cans instead of a gallon jug of water. Play around with your weights too. So we are going to start with the bent over raise. So I'll give you a side view, might be a little bit better. So again, I'm sitting in my chair, my weights are in my hand, I bend over slightly to about 45, and then I'm bringing my arms into a W, up to about my ear height. And then I'm getting a slight hold at the top, pushing my chest out at the top. Good. Again, we're going to make 10 to 20 the goal. Somewhere in there, however many reps challenges you for whatever weight you have in your hands. Into that W, trying to get my hands up to about ear height. Good, and that's about it for me. So with that exercise, you should feel it at the back of your shoulder, and even maybe in the middle of your back too. If you're kind of pulling those shoulder blades together and then pulling those hands up to your ears. All right, let's go right into our other exercise here. So front raise. We're just going to be raising the weights that we have out in front of us. I'll give you guys a little bit better view. This chair out of the way. Same thing. We're going to go for about 10 to 20. So I'm raising and then dropping them down. So they're about right out in front of me. If it feels a little more comfortable for you to raise more off to the side, that's okay. But as long as they're generally in front of your body, that's what we want. A little bit of a hold at the top and then down nice and slow. You can see that I'm not rocking my body and throwing the weights up. I'm just lifting my arms. I really want to isolate that shoulder and use that shoulder. Don't want to rock too much. Everything's nice and slow and under control. Again, I'm going to get to a number of reps between 10 and 20 where it's starting to get challenging. The muscle's burning a little bit. It's getting harder to lift my weights. Good. I'm going to do one more. Perfect. And then down nice and easy. Good work. All right, shake those shoulders out. It's a lot of shoulder work. Grab yourself a drink. And so we're going to do a couple more sets of these two exercises, and then we're going to switch into one more leg exercise to finish, and then an exercise to kind of work on kind of core stability. So that's the plan for the rest of the day. So we are nearing there. We're getting there. We're about halfway. So once we've got a drink, feel like we're rested up, we're going to go back, and I'll give you a front view of this one this time. So I'm seated, got my weights. I'm going to bend forward to where my torso's at about 45 degrees, and then I'm lifting those hands up and out to the sides, trying to form my arms into a W. So my elbows are just below my shoulders. And my hands coming up to about ear level. We're going to go for 10 to 20 here. So when you get those weights up to the sides, think about pushing your chest out and pulling your shoulder blades together. Push the chest out, pull the shoulder blades together at the top. Good. Great. Whew. That one definitely burns in the back of the shoulders. Nice work. Take a little breather. Again, shake off the shoulders. We're going to go back into these front raises now. So with these ones, now we're working a little bit more of the front of the shoulder. So that's kind of where you should feel this exercise. Okay, here we go. Got my weights at my side, and I am just lifting out in front, nice and slow. Almost like I'm lifting two lanterns up, lighting the way. I am lighting the path to our success in the year 2021. Good, nice, slow, under control the whole time, up nice and slow. Little hold at the top. Don't be too anxious to drop them. Good. Try to keep your chest out. Don't let your shoulders round forward on you too much. Chest out in front of you. Helps keep your head up too. If you're kind of looking out in front of you, it'll keep your posture in the right position. Good. And I got one more. I'm starting to feel it. Whew. Nice. Shake those out. Do some arm swings. We'll let those shoulders recover for a second. Get a drink. We're going to go into our last set here of these two exercises. Looks like we're doing great on time. Right. So go ahead and grab those weights. Let's get into our last set. So we're starting with the bent over raises. So I'm in my chair, weights at my side, lean forward about 45 degrees. And then I'm lifting those weights up to the side, making a W with my arms. Again, if you need to know what that W looks like, this is what it should look like when you get to the top. Your elbows are kind of down below your shoulder, hands up at about your ears. Perfect, good job. That's our last set, so don't worry too much about pushing this one to where it starts to really burn, because we're not going to have to do another set. My shoulders are burning right now. Woo, good. Take a breather. Yeah, I'm just going to shake my shoulders out for a second. All right, so I know we haven't gotten a lot of snow this year, but I know there's probably some cross-country skiers watching. So this has been a pretty cross-country skiing specific workout. So we did a lot of, you know, hip mobility and strengthening at the beginning, which is a lot of cross-country. And now, this is basically your poling, right? You're reaching out in front of you. We're not doing the pushing component necessarily, but reaching the poles. I know when I go out cross-country skiing, granted, I'm not super well trained, my shoulders start to burn from lifting my skis up, or the poles up. There we go, last set of these, chest out. Nice and slow, raise those weights out in front of you. Slight hold at the top, and then we're coming back down. Slow and under control, keep that chest out. And again, if you can raise right out in front of you if you want, you can raise a little bit off to the side if it's more comfortable for you, whatever feels best on your shoulder. There isn't a right or wrong way to do it. There's just a way that's pain-free and comfy and works the muscles we're trying to hit. Good, so I'm gonna try to push this one. I'm starting to slow down. Fronts of my shoulders are burning. Last one, woo! Good. And you can put those paint buckets down or bags of weights, gallons of water. We're done with those for now. So take some time to grab a quick drink, recover. Again, shake those arms out. I know my shoulders are feeling pretty tired now. I'm going to get my chair out of the way. And I'm going to throw down my towel or yoga mat. If you've got a yoga mat, grab that. And try to get my camera lined up best I can here. It's pretty good. Right. Perfect. All right. First exercise. So I introduced an exercise a few weeks ago that people found fairly challenging. I'm going to throw it back at you guys for some more practice now. So we're going to be doing a hamstring curl on the ground. I'm going to show you a few different ways that you can do this. Now, I happen to have this really cool scooter contraption that I found in the garage here, and I'm going to use this, but also a sports ball or an exercise ball should work. So this is just a little ball. If you have a bigger ball, that'll work too. Essentially what we're going to be doing is you're going to lay down on your mat, stick your ball or your scooter out in front of you. You're going to stick your heels on that. And then what you're going to do, go into a bridge and just let your legs extend. And then what you can do is just go back on your butt, bring your legs up, go into a bridge, roll your feet out, put your butt down, and then reset. So what we're trying to do is get into this bridge, and then we're really using those hamstrings and those glutes to let those feet out nice and slow. So you should really feel it in your hamstrings and a little bit in your butt. So if you can, this is the really hard version, is to go up and out and then bring it back, all with your butt up off the floor. But the easier version is to bridge, let your feet out, and then just reset. Bring your feet back and reset. So it's really nice and smooth with a scooter. You can also use a ball. So all I'll do is just stick my feet on this ball. Do the same thing. Probably want to start with your toes on the ball. Roll it out and then reset. Roll it out. Reset. So you're trying to keep your abs nice and tight and just push those feet out in front of you. So if you notice, when I get into this bridge, I keep a straight line from my knee down here to my shoulder. My abs are nice and tight. And then I just let those feet out and I use those hamstrings. So that's how you can do it with a ball. Third variation, if you don't have either of these, and you've got a nice slippery floor, is you can use a towel. So if your towel will slide on the floor, you do the same exact thing. Slide your feet out on that towel, reset, bring it back, bridge, slide your feet out, reset, bridge, slide your feet out. So try one of those variations. I don't think any one is better than the other. They're all kind of working the same thing. And that is our first exercise we're going to do. And then the second exercise we're going to do in between is just a really slow and controlled crunch. So I think a lot of people do a lot of really fancy exercises to try and train your abs. But this is a very simple variation that we're going to use, and this will really fry your abs, I promise you. So after you get done with those hamstring curls, you can just lay there. And then from this position, all we're going to focus on doing is taking your sternum, so think about your sternum, and you're just going to try to bring it down to your pelvis. And you're going to try to close this distance on your abdomen as much as you can. Close that distance as much as you can and squeeze down, and then come back out nice and slow. So think about taking your belly button, pushing your belly button down to the floor, and closing that distance on your abs. Hold for a second, and then release. So practice that a couple times. We're going to come back for a working set next. I want you to just feel it out right now. So push the belly button down to the floor, close the distance on your abdomen, and then come back down. So it's just really slow and controlled crunch, but you should really feel it in those abs. So it's almost like the start of kind of getting up. Push the belly button down to the floor, and then bring your sternum to your pelvis and close that distance as much as you can. Squeeze back down. All right, those are our two exercises. With that said, let's get into our working sets now. We're going to come and try to work through 3 of these, and we're just going to flip back and forth. Let me see what we have. Maybe we'll do 2 sets. Let's try starting with 2 sets and see how we're doing after that, because our time's running a little bit long here. Again, set up these hamstring curls however you can, using a towel, ball, scooter. So your feet are going to go on the towel, ball, or scooter. I like to make sure that my heels are on it rather than my flat foot, because it helps me use my glutes and my hamstrings a little more. Then I'm bridging, and then slowly pushing my feet away from you while keeping my butt up off the floor. And then I'm going to reset with my butt on the floor. And now I'm going to try again for that like 10 to 20. Or as many as you can get with good form. This is a tough exercise, so I don't blame you if you can only do, 5 to 8 is even okay. Just do your best. If you have to, also, you can keep your butt on the floor and just lift it a little bit and push your heels out. So if you can't get into a full bridge and let those feet out, just kind of keep your butt on the floor and push just a little bit into your heels. So your butt's just basically kind of hovering off the floor, but not all the way. You do the same thing. Hands can kind of go out at your side for balance. So bridge, push your heels out, keep your abs tight, good. Bring it back, bridge, nice, slow and controlled. Good. This is a really good one for training those hamstrings. Especially protecting against hamstring injuries too, because we're training them in a good long position. We're getting a lot of tension right out there at the very end when our legs are getting stretched out. And that's where we tend to injure them. Oh, good. I got one more. Perfect. Nice. All right, so get your ball, scooter, towel out of the way. We're going to go into a set of good controlled crunches. So I'm going to try for about 10 of these. You guys work through 10 with me on the first set. And I want you can almost make these as hard as you want to by squeezing and really controlling. So I'm just going to do 10. So kind of work with me on this. All right, ready? So we're taking our sternum, we're bringing it to our pelvis. We're trying to shorten this distance on our abdomen as much as we can, bringing those 2 things together and thinking about pushing our belly button down into the floor. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, good, up. And squeeze, good, that's 1, reset, and 2, up, push the belly button into the floor, squeeze, that's 2, another 1, up, belly button into the floor, squeeze, 3, good, sternum to pelvis, belly button into the floor, squeeze, good, 4, and again, Squeeze, push that belly button down into the floor. Good, 5. Up again. Squeeze, belly button into the floor. Good, 7. And up again. Shorten that distance, get your sternum to your pelvis. Good, relax. Up, belly button into the floor, squeeze, perfect. I think we're on 8, I'm already tired. One more. Up, squeeze, belly button into the floor, and relax. Good. I feel like 8 was pretty good. We'll try for 10 on our last set. That was tricky. All right, so we're gonna reset for the hamstring curls. I'll make sure that we don't have any questions on here so far. We're looking good. Okay. So last set of these, so I know they're tricky. Just try your best. Do what you can to make the exercise doable for you and so that you can feel it in those hamstrings and try to work those hammies. All right, so I've got my feet up on my scooter. I'm gonna get on my heels. I like to lift my toes. Hands are at my side and I'm up into a bridge and then pushing my feet away nice and slow. Good, then I reset. So here we go, let's get as many as we can with good form. And if you cannot get your butt up off the floor, it's okay. You can do them with your butt on the floor and just kind of push your heels into the scooter a little bit and push those heels out in front of you. Good. Perfect. Hamstrings are tricky to train at home, but this is one way that you can really train them pretty effectively. This is one of my favorite home exercises that I've used during the quarantine when all the gyms were shut down and I had nowhere to go lift super heavy weights. Good, let's get a few more here. Up into that bridge, feet out in front, nice and slow, good control. I'm gonna try for one more. Good, nice work. Beautiful. All right. We're gonna go for 10 of these crunches now. So feet on the floor. I will count these out. You can work through them with me here. I'm gonna make 10 on this one. I don't want to poop us out on the first set. Okay, here we go. So pushing the belly button down into the floor, bringing our sternum to our pelvis. Nice and slow, and a good squeeze at the top. Ready? Here we go. And up. Squeeze, good, and down. Good, and up. Push belly button to the floor, squeeze, and down. And up. Squeeze, good, and down. Up, good squeeze, and down. Another one, 5. Squeeze, good. And 6, up and squeeze, good. 7, squeeze, nice work, keep going. And 8, push that belly button to the floor, sternum to pelvis. And 9, good squeeze. Last one, shorten that distance up, squeeze those abs, belly button to the floor, and relax. Woo! All right. It's tough to sit up after those. Nice work, guys. We made it through all the hard stuff. Get a drink. We'll do a really brief cool down here to kind of get our heart rates back down before I let you go. Perfect. All right. That was a good workout. I felt good to get up and move. All right. A true garage workout. A scooter and paint cans on a nice cold cement floor. Hopefully your workouts at home are a little more comfortable than this. All right, let's get those feet spread. Take our left hand, we'll go down to our right foot. Get a little bit of a stretch on the hamstrings now. And let's try to cool down. Good big deep breath out. Just think about relaxing that hamstring and those muscles. Is always the best part of the workout. You've done the hard stuff. You made it through. You got the endorphins going. You're feeling good. Now you get to just rest a little bit and cool down. Take that right hand down to that left foot. And just breathe here. Try and relax more and more on every exhale. Good. Nice work. All right, we'll hit one more stretch and I'll let you go. I like this pigeon stretch a lot. Really gets the hip. So you've got a leg out in front of you. My knee's at 90 degrees, and I'm going to come just over the top of this leg. If you're not quite mobile enough to get there, it feels uncomfortable, you can do the same thing by laying on your back, bringing your knee up. And you can actually even push down on that knee and get a little bit better hip stretch. So a couple different variations, but I really like that pigeon stretch. Feels good. You can get those hands out in front of you there and just kind of breathe into it and relax. Work. All right, let's go ahead and flip sides. I know I might be rushing us a little bit here. Want to go too far over on time. I don't want to be known as the guy who keeps people for workouts forever. Good. Just breathe through it. I'll give you guys a side view too if you're kind of confused with what I'm doing here. All right. Okay, I think I'm cooled down. So thank you for joining me for the workout. I hope that you enjoyed it, and hope to see you again soon.